Aloha and good morning. Today's simple mini lecture is about the change we all want to happen, but we're really not understanding how to get there from the outside in and from the inside out. Remember, change comes from within before any change starts to come from the outside. So change is a very powerful word indeed. And how do we become the change, or the, as I would say, upgrade, enhancement, or optimized part of our new selves? This is something that we're all striving for right now, all of us. Whether we like it or not, we're striving right now for change. And all I can tell you is over 30 years of changing. Change must come from the inside before we get any change on the outside. We see wars, famines, we see politics, government, we see all the authorities now in change. And the type of change is not sometimes for the better. The change that I personally see is for the worse in many ways. So we've got a paralyzing grip on reality. And what is reality right now? Reality is something that is not pleasing for most people to live in. That's for sure. So how do we change our reality? Our reality, or reality, okay? Our real, our self, our mind, our body, our relationships, the way we look at things, the way we act upon things. This is only done when we've become more advanced. And advanced is not just, something that you go to school to get a degree. That doesn't mean you're advanced. In fact, going to school makes us become what I call an intellect. And an intellect doesn't mean you have intelligence. Intelligence is when we have both sides of our brains, okay, the multi-capacitor, this morphogenic field on the left and morphogenic field on the right, become somewhat connected. So once that happens, then we start making not intellect decisions, we make intelligent decisions based on the morphological fields that surround us all the time. Most of the time we're only playing with one field at a time though. So in order to be able to really dig deep into what we'd call change, remember, change is not all good, but change is exactly what we're going through right now. And there's lots of disinformation and a lot of distraction going on everywhere. Everywhere I see, there's so much coming at us. So much. Like I said, 30 years of practicing change with patience, with myself, with the way I act upon things. The only way I really did a lot of change was to change my toxicity load, my parasitic load that I didn't even know I had previously. That's the best part about parasites. Remember, they're elusive to the host. Elusive. They have no benefit to the host at all. None. So once we understand how toxicity goes hand in hand with our parasitic load, then we'd want to change the toxicity load that we have in our bodies. And that can be not just physical. Remember, you have an emotional body, which is 80% of your energy field, your morphogenic field. And energy and motion, emotions, when they're not in control, they control us. We have many different bodies, as we all know. The physical body, of course, we accumulate. Everything we put in our mouth, everything we breathe, everything we drink needs to be processed. And a lot of the liquids and the fuels that we put in our body cannot be processed by our body, so we need exterior life forms that live in our body to break these components down. So this is a big, profound experience in your mind once you find out that toxicity is the engagement of the parasitic load that we all have. So that goes deep, of course. Now, remember, toxicity, if your body's really working well, should be able to digest and or pass through the filters and not clog the filters up. The kidneys, the liver, the spleen, the brain, all the glands are all filters. Our muscles are filters. The lymph gland is a filter. Our body's just a giant filter. So understanding that the toxicity load gets stuck inside us because of the chemical synthetics, hormones that disrupt the way our system self-organizes itself. Again, this is not complex, but it's multidimensional, it's multifractional, and it is a system within systems within systems that all work with each other. There is not one system in our body and our minds. We have multiple systems that coalesce with each other, and once one or two of these systems get out of whack, then the rest of the systems fall down also. And it's the same as if we get one or two of these bodies in action, in line with each other, and they coalesce and work together, then what that also does is entrain the other parts of us to go to that morphogenic level. So if it's what we really understand is that toxicity leads to dysfunction. Dysfunction lives within our bodies, the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle will explain to you. I also call the pain body, when you get deeper into it, it's called the parasite body. Parasites live off of low vibrational fear, doubt, uncertainty, arguing, just low level vibrations of engagement. When we become happy, when we become blissful, when we become loving and nourishing, we do not entrain the lower systems to control the upper systems. Okay, so look at your body as having multi-oscillating energy centers. And if you do have fear, that brings you down to that layer. It's just what it does. And if you're in bliss, then those lower layers get entrained to become the upper layers. So joy, bliss, and happiness is a function of multiple different dynamics depending on our morphogenic field within our physiological organic structure. Now, remember, parasites do not live in joy, bliss, and happiness. They don't live in that energy field. And those words are just energies. Joy, bliss, and happiness is an energy field. It's just what it is. So once we, see that this energy field can be manipulated. It can be manipulated for the better and or manipulated for the worse. All you got to do is watch any of the news stations or just read the newspaper and you find out that this is the mindset of the people that are pushing information to us. It's always in fear, it's always in war, it's always in famine, it's always in SARS, Ebola, every disease that you can think of. 1 out of 2 people, remember, are becoming cancerous to themselves. Where a parasite, which is what I describe as cancer, is a live parasite that lives within our morphogenic field, controlling our fields. So instead of fighting parasites, instead of fighting fungi, candida, yeast, mold, all these different parasites that are very small, very numerous. And then we have another set of parasites that are more visual. They're not microscopic, like the pig tapeworm, the pork tapeworm, the fish tapeworm, nematodes, hairworms, all these different creatures that have names, but really we don't know what they are. We just give them names only because we don't know what else to call them and identify them as. These are self-organizing, cold-blooded machines. They live within our morphogenic field, and once we lose our charge, they become powerful. And once they become powerful, good luck on getting your charge back. Good luck. So, the simple moral of the story is, like we've talked about, toxicity leads to the elusive predators that now can actually take a hold of our morphogenic field. Think of your morphogenic field as sort of like a radio station, and it's got multiple different energies running through the radio station, but you can actually connect into one radio station and change dials to the AM dial, which is non-stereo, okay? And it's a very basic radio station. Then once we got FM, we got out of AM and we went to this stereo type of music and or just sound, and that's another morphogenic field. But the radio, remember, is like the body. It has the capacity to hold multiple different fields, and depending on what radio station you want to dial to, if you knew that you could do that, you'd want to experience the lower layers just to feel them, just to feel fear, doubt, and uncertainty. It's a must to be able to understand love, hate, good, bad. It's part of our experience to be able to grow, is to feel both sides of the fence. And if we knew that we could actually switch over to joy, bliss, and happiness, and presently be in that energy field consistently, then this is where we start to live what I call authentically. Authentic. An authentic earth human is one that's very loving, very nourishing, very giving. Of course, as you give, you receive. That's just the way it works. But the big question here is how do we get to this layer of ecstasy, this layer of joy, bliss, and happiness? Terrain modification is what I found the antidote to optimal health and wellness. It is the antidote to you self-treating yourself, self-treating, and changing your morphogenic field for the better or for the worse. So once you find out that now change is at your fingertips and you have the power to change yourself, and change, like I said, is a powerful, profound word. Most people don't want any change at all. Why? It's because they're comfortable with the schism that they live in. They know how to navigate it. They don't like it, but they're comfortable with it. So once we adhere to, I call first phase, 180 days of a supernatural lifestyle. And the way you do that is, of course, learn the terrain modification protocols, practices, principles, and do what you can. Do what you can. Upgrade what you can. Enhance what you can. Do what you feel that you can do. And if that's something that excites you, and it should, It's only because now you can take back your power. Most people are in change only because they've got fear or greed that is controlling their morphogenic field. Fear or greed. Why do we change a lot of times? Is because we have fear. Why do we change a lot of times? Because of greed. So instead of changing in fear or greed, try to change in what we call love and respect, integrity. Love, respect, and integrity, they go hand in hand, and you can't have one without the other. And the only way to achieve that without actually reading a lot of concepts and books and, trying to put something into your mind, and your body hasn't brought itself up to the next layer of engagement, then you're not going to be able to actually keep this field long. You may be able to think about it because they're concepts, they're disciplines, and there's actions for your mind to be able to think of these layers. But what if you want to consistently stay in this what I'd call enhanced state of mind? Your body must be in enhanced state and condition. If not, the mind will go right back to where it was. You can meditate for 20 minutes, and after 2 hours, if your body's still in the same state that it was previously, then where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go right back to from which it came. So, detoxification is just making space for the body to be able to nutrify itself, to be able to put back in. Now you have the space to do it. A lot of people are putting in a lot of different products and changing themselves, but they haven't taken away. Remember, in order for you to be able to change, you have to make space. You have to make space. It's part of the what you'd call the antidote, is to make space. So reversing your detoxification level from toxic to less toxic is going to change the way your mind engages. It's going to change the way your mind engages. So if it is going to engage in what we'd call fear and doubt, then most likely all you're going to do is give more power to the resonant or morphogenic field that parasites feed off of or thrive off of. So taking out different types of substances that we have accumulated in our flesh garments, this is the smartest thing that you can do. You're going to remove the lower vibrational morphogenic fields that distort and cause, like one person in an orchestra, to not be in tune with the rest of the orchestra. What makes you think that the orchestra is going to sound well? It's not. So learning the terrain modification protocols is, like I said, a essential must if you're smart enough to be able to see these truths and you haven't been taken over by these elusive parasites that don't want any change whatsoever. If you can get these types of simple concepts, then you'll understand that change is very easy to do. Very easy. The problem is that most of us feel that, well, we don't know what to do. We don't know where to start. Well, start by changing your food, changing your pots and pans. Remember, assaults on a daily basis are the reason being why we have dysfunction. So these videos are only for you to make space so you can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We do need inspiration. Oh yes, we do. And what kind of inspiration do we need? Well, we need others that have gone through these layers to be able to share their experience. That's inspiration. And what works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. That's the best part. But what works for me most likely will. Most likely. Now, trying to keep these videos under 30 minutes. Remember, most of everything that we want to do is because we feel that what we're going to do has efficacy to it. It's repeatable. It's got a truth to it by others that have experienced this truth. Remember, experiential wisdom is truth. It may not be the truth you want to hear, but then again, it's not belief. Belief is a lot of times very distractional. We believe in a lot of things. Let me tell you. Oh, yes, we do. From religions to money to politics to authorities. We believe in a lot of things. Now it's time to be able to actually step up to the next layer. And stepping up to the next layer would be experiential wisdom. Do you think it's something negative to think about if you wanted to upgrade, enhance, or optimize your world? Or optimize everybody's world? No. If you can actually just see the light in this type of parable, then there would be no reason for you not to upgrade. There would be no reason for you not to optimize. There would be no reason for you not to enhance yourself. Like I said, how do you do this? That's a long story. The 30 departments of terrain modification will tell you simply that there is a lot of work to do. And it's not easy. It's not. If it was, everybody would do it. And I'm looking at people walking in the parking lot right now, and I saw, a lot of people that, I see a lot of people that are very dysfunctional, physiological-wise. So all you have to do is just think of yourself as like a farmer of humans, and go to a store and look at all the animals, look at the people, and look at the stock of animals, the people, and see if they are what you'd call, are they the trophies that you wish to keep breeding? Or do you have a group of people that realistically are sort of like a group of animals that are very sick, and the farmer needs to figure out how to clean up his farm? That's where we're at today in the United States, Canada, the world, in many ways. The system's cleaning itself up. Parasites are here not to cause you negativity. They're here actually to help you. And you're saying, how could parasites help us? Well, they're help cleaning up the dysfunction here on the planet. They are. The parasites are eating us to death. They're eating our plants to death. They're causing massive dysfunction on this whole planet. It's because we have caused this dysfunction, and they're cleaning up the mess. Just like when an animal dies or a person dies, if you just watch their body decay, you'll find out that many other species, microspecies, parasitic species will eat up the body and decompose it. Fungi, yeast, mold, everything will decompose the body. So this is what's happening right now. we are being decomposed. And it's only because, well, we want to be. If you don't want to be decomposed, then clean yourself up. Clean your act up. Clean our acts up. We're such a beautiful race of different ideas, thoughts, disciplines. And we have so much to learn from each other. We do. And the last thing we need to do is beat each other up anymore. If the military was actually not being machine run, then most of the people that are in the military would put their guns down and walk away. But that's what happens when you get 20 vaccines and you take your emotional body away and you get beat down, so you'll just learn to, well, just like they do in school for us, learn to follow the rules. I told you to jump. I didn't ask you to say why I said for you to jump. I just said jump, and that's where people realistically have lost their power. They're not weighing and measuring. We do have a neocortex, and we can weigh and measure what is right and what is wrong. Anyways, I don't want to get into politics, but we as a species can change ourselves for the better or for the worse. Think about that. It's time to really think deep before we make our unconscious actions over and over and over again. This is where we're at today as a species. Do we have the the intelligence, not the intellect? The intellect is what's got us in problems and trouble. Do we have the intelligence where both brains and both morphogenic fields are working in some harmonic equanimity? And as we become more harmonic, then we see the insanity for what it is. And our job then is to help those that cannot see, feel, hear, or touch this layer. They can't see it. They're swimming in it. So 180 days of cleaning up your body and your mind will definitely change your world. What are you waiting for? I call this the supernatural lifestyle. It's natural? Of course it is. It's got rules. You don't really live a natural lifestyle unless you have awareness. So that's why I call this the supernatural lifestyle, because it's super. It's above the natural. You have to use your brain. You have to use your intellect and your intelligence in one. So, again, think about these simple concepts. Are you ready for change? And if you are, then what are you waiting for? Step up to the plate. Volunteer to become more human. I think that would be a good class, a good degree. If you could go to Stanford, UCLA, or one of the Ivy League schools that are teaching intellect, teaching intelligence would be, let's see if we can become more human. I think that would change the world in a way that would be, well, a good change. Okay, that's the end of my little mini lecture here. Remember, change yourself for the better. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to get sick and tired? Or are you already sick and tired? Is that what the problem is? And you don't feel like changing because you just don't have the energy? You don't feel that, you have the intellectuality to be able to? So learn from others. Learn from others that have stepped up to the plate. Learn from others that want to share. But then again, just because someone's sharing with you information doesn't mean the information is valid. So be careful on the information that you put into your morphogenic field, because what you see, feel, hear, touch, what you say, what you do, exercise, everything adds to your multidimensional, multifractional morphogenic fields. Removing parasites and removing toxicity will change your morphogenic field from down here up to here massively. And once you get up to these higher layers, then you'll start to feel good about where you're going only because you're going in a direction that feels good. Feels good. And if you lower your morphogenic field, you live in doubt, fear, and uncertainty, dysfunction, and the last thing you want to do is stay in that level. That's why you got 50 million people taking Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil, and SSRs, and antidepressants. That's ridiculous. It tells you there's a lot of people in the lower morphogenic fields. So change your ways, upgrade yourself, enhance yourself, optimize yourself, and as you do this, help others optimize, enhance, and upgrade themselves. It's just the way it works. So shall you receive? You have to receive this information. You have to change yourself, and then you'll have the power to give. And you'll want to give just because it's the best thing you've ever done, is to be able to share what others can't buy. You can't buy happiness. You can't buy love. You can't buy health. You just can't. Get sick and see if you can buy it. Oh, you're sad? Here, let's go buy you an ice cream. So, remember, happiness comes from within, and that means that we must upgrade the morphogenic fields. So, that's a very simple way of looking at it, but that's just the way it is. So, all right, change yourself for the better, as I've been doing. And all I can say is that it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best I've ever felt, because I'm working from here. I'm working from my heart, and I'm not working from the lower layers of myself. Sexuality doesn't control me anymore. Food doesn't control me anymore. And those two big controls are usually what most people have controlling them. Well, remember, if you're working with the heart up, then my heart is controlling my mind instead of the lower energy centers or chakras controlling my mind. And there's no reason why you can't engage in, have all these centers working or in training the way you want to feel. If I want to change to eating food, sexuality, such, I can, but it doesn't control me. So that's the best part of being human, is to change your tune to the tune that you wish. But you must clean the temple first. You must clean the church. You must align the temples, the left and right side of the brains. Okay, there you go. We'll see you next time. Aloha.
Important reminder: all information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.